Hi, I'm Ryan Arts, CEO of the John Arts Group. I'd like to tell you a story of the history of the John Arts Group, how our core values came to be, and how we became an organization that maximizes individual potential in the collaborative construction environment to maximize the potential of every project we work on. So in the late 1970s, John Arts was working for one of our competitors. They were a good competitor. They're still one of our competitors today. But he was frustrated because he felt like he was reaching a ceiling. He felt like he could achieve more, thought that he could be a general superintendent one day, maybe manage the entire organization. But every time he thought he was going to get a shot, he kept finding himself back driving the float truck. And there's nothing wrong with driving a float truck. In fact, my father absolutely loved driving truck. I remember as a kid driving around in trucks and machinery all the time with him. But he kept feeling like he was hitting that ceiling and wasn't able to achieve his potential. But when you get knocked down so many times, you lose confidence, and he was afraid of change. And ultimately, it was Laura Lee Arts that encouraged John and said, "We can do this, you can do this, we can do this together." And she believed in John more than he believed in himself. And in 1982, they started J-AAR Excavating out of this very shop and office. So John and Laura Lee grew the company through the early 1980s and 90s through 2 recessions by ensuring that the culture of reaching your greatest potential and believing in others more than they believed in themselves always existed. There's many great stories of John teaching others, sometimes grown men in the back corner of cabs of machinery just like this. At our 40th anniversary party, one of our retired senior managers, Joe Kudo, talked about his progression from running a bulldozer to being foreman of an earthworks crew, to eventually becoming operations manager of Rock Aggregates. When he was asked about his key to success, he said without hesitation, it was John believing in him more than he believed in himself. So the company grew all the way through to 1997, where we were an industry leader. But then a decade of disaster hits. It starts with John and Laura Lee's marital separation in 1997, but they stay true to their core values and have the good foresight to put 6 senior managers and give them the autonomy to run the company. So they stayed true to those 2 core values of believing in others more than they believe in themselves and reaching your greatest potential. In 1999, we have the tragic accident that resulted in the fatality of Gilbert Lima, one of our team members. And then in 2002, of course, John Arts passes away in a construction accident. Kevin, Jonathan, and Ryan are 15, 19, and 24 at this time, and certainly in no way prepared to run a construction organization like the John Arts Group. And the executor of the will was a lawyer that John had met 6 months prior, who, with all the complications of an estate and everything that was going on, basically strongly recommended and was pursuing to sell the John Arts Group to another company. But those 6 senior managers and all of the team members of the John Arts Group, or many of them, said to Kevin, Jonathan, Ryan, "You can do this, we've got your back, we're here to stay as long as you want to do this, we're in it, we'll continue to do this." And many of the team members actually strongly encouraged and said, "In no way do you," they didn't even give us the option, said, we need this, we need you to keep going." So through the next 6 years, we fight through an estate and all the complications of an estate until 2008, when Kevin, Jonathan, and Ryan become the owners of the John Arts Group. And of course, an economic recession hits. But we learned a lot about the next 2 core values of the company along the way. Those senior managers, through all of that adversity, showed an immense amount of tenacity and integrity in fighting through all of those challenges that we continue to do what we say we're going to do. And of course, through all of that adversity, we certainly had to embrace humility, or we were humbled when you go from being an industry leader to a slow, kind of what felt like a slow death, because that executor had also said, okay, fine, if you're not gonna sell the company, you can't change anything. Status quo. So when you have no growth, of course, that's a ceiling. Certainly weren't following through with our core values at that time, but you have a slow death. If you're not growing, you're dying. So the fourth core value being embrace humility, it reminds me of what J-AAR used to always say when I was a kid, when I'd say, oh, that guy's the best. He's like, son, there's always, it doesn't matter how good you are, there's always somebody better than you. And it is that drive and that motivation to know, stay humble, because that humility is necessary for that continued growth if you're ever going to reach your full potential.
So from 2008 until 2017, my brothers and I are super motivated to take the company on a new trajectory, and we grow to become the industry leader again. With that growth comes greater challenges, sometimes greater arguments stemming from the confidence and the boost of ego that happens when you get to a peak or a plateau. So we hired a business coach, Glenn Mowat, who reminded us of the fifth core value of the John Arts Group being respect. Respect and autonomy. Respect is the core of collaboration on every construction project to reach our greatest potential. Respect is at the core, at the root of everything we achieve, that we do. And John and Laura Lee Arts always reminded us that you have to respect yourself, you have to respect your team members and what they're trying to achieve, you have to respect the business that supports all of us and our families, you have to respect your customers and their objectives, and we have to respect the community and the objectives of the community at large.
And as we've continued to grow through 2017 to 2023, we've acquired some businesses that have similar values, and we honor the legacy of those businesses continue today. And this is where we're at today. So let me give you a little tour.